Oh, hey, buddy.
Okay. 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 Can you hear me, Commissioner Knight? Thumbs up.
Sounds good, Karina. This is Casey. Looks good. Good morning.
No, they can hear me, but it's not. Yes, ma'am. I asked Judge what's going on here. Okay, there it is. There we go.
Is everyone ready?
Deeper.
Testing, testing, testing. Commissioner Knight, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, so I think my little hammer got misplaced somewhere. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is 10 o'clock a.m. Today is Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. We're in the annex of the Presidio County Courthouse in Presidio, Texas. And I'll start with a request for a quorum verification. Present.
Commissioner Precinct 1, David Axel. Here. Commissioner Precinct 2, Manuel Fernandez.
Here.
Commissioner Precinct 3, Obed Sofia.
Present.
Commissioner Precinct 4, Buddy Knight.
You're on mute, Commissioner, but you can just give us a thumbs up.
You have a quorum.
There you go. I got it.
Now can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Thank you so much. If
Yes,
you would
sir.
stand for allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. So I'll open with public comments. Anything that's not on the agenda that someone in the public would like to visit with their commissioners and judge about. Any public comments here present in the annex? John, please go ahead. Introduce yourself, and even though everybody knows you.
Yes, John Kennedy, Director of Presidio Municipal Development District. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I wanted to briefly acknowledge the lawsuit filed by the Presidio Municipal Development District in Washington, D.C. last week regarding proposed border barrier construction in the Presidio area. PMDD did not take this action lightly. Our purpose is straightforward: to protect the community's flood control infrastructure, public safety, property, and long-term economic interests, and to ensure that federal construction proceeds in accordance with the laws that remain applicable. This is not a statement against border security, nor is it a partisan action. The court can require the legally mandated flood safety review without deciding questions of border security policy or preventing construction that can proceed lawfully without impairing the levee system. PMDD is an independent local political subdivision with its own responsibility to protect the public interest entrusted to it. When we identified a credible threat to Presidio's flood control infrastructure and economic future, we had both the authority and the obligation to act. We welcome the support and partnership of the county, the city, and other regional institutions, but responsible local government cannot always wait for every institution to move in unison before protecting the community. Our American system depends on local governments and citizens being able to petition the courts, question government action, and insist upon compliance with the law without fear or favor. Seeking judicial review is not an act of hostility toward the federal government. It is one of the lawful checks our system provides, and exercising that right should never be treated as disloyalty or invite retaliation. The Rio Grande and the levee system are fundamental to life, property, commerce, and the future development here. Once irreversible construction begins, some risks might be difficult or impossible to correct. The responsible course is to resolve those questions before the work proceeds. The matter is now before a federal court, so I will not discuss litigation strategy or predict the outcome. PMDD remains committed to working constructively with Presidio County, the City of Presidio, federal agencies, landowners, and regional partners. Whatever one's views on border policy, I hope we can agree that Presidio deserves careful engineering, transparency, lawful process, and the same protection afforded to any other American community. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Public comments. Any other public comments? Any public comments on the virtual world? Okay. I'll move on to our routine agenda items. Agenda item number 1, discuss and take action to approve any budget amendments and or line item transfers.
I don't have any this
That's okay. Agenda item number 2, discussion and take action to approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills.
Good morning, Commissioners, Judge. So I know that I saw the scan and it did not look well at all. I think that's just our scanner at work, in my office. And I know there's 2 batches. For some reason, our system has put out, we're having a little bit of growing pains with our new system. We just need to figure out how to put all those bills in one batch. But, the first one, number 14, $24,118.39, and it's just monthly bills that we pay. The second one in the amount of $41,424.44, and that one is also monthly bills that we pay, except for the Road and Bridge, the HVAC system that we paid Mr. Humboldt Company for $11,500. That's the only ones that would be able to pay.
Okay.
Or I do have one question.
Yes.
And I think it was brought up at the last commissioners hearing. I'm starting to look at commissioners' budget and stuff. And, so when, the judge and Commissioner Contreras went to Mexico City, which was a great trip. Thank y'all for doing that. I believe Obed paid for everything.
Correct.
When y'all deducted it, did you split the deductions so that part of it came out of the judge's office and part of it came out of the commissioner's?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all I have. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Not
So
that
much.
we don't want to pay for you, Joe, but
No, it's a matter. I'm glad you brought that up. We were actually just granted the technical assistance grant, $350,000, and which is going to go a very long way to get this project done. We're already working on the next steps. I have a meeting tomorrow set up with the COG on the steps moving forward. So I'm excited about it.
thank
So
you.
we spent what, $1,500 and got $350, and hopefully we'll get like 1.57 for the build out.
Good investment.
Good investment.
Good return on.
Good. There you go.
You know, we separated those were bills from the previous meeting, and they were broken into the judge's budget and the commissioner's budget.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That's
Agenda item number 3, discussion with action to reinstate the Presidio County burn ban. Mr. Minsky? Is he on?
I don't see his name up there.
Okay.
But Joe, or Judge, sorry, typically, you know, that burn ban is in place and then it runs a perceived amount of time.
3 months
And we have to always, reinstate that.
necessary.
So,
There was 1 year we had a significant amount of rain, and we did let it drop for about 3 months. We have had some rain, but I would still agree that we need the burn ban.
I'm with you.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion, if that's okay.
That's fine.
I'd like to move that we reinstate the Presidio County burn ban.
I'll second.
And I have a second. Any other discussion? None? All in favor? Very good. Agenda item number 4, Trey Gerfers, General Manager of the Presidio County Underground Water and Conservation Discussion with action to approve a memorandum of understanding between Presidio County and the Shafter Public Water Supply Corporation as requested by the Texas Water Development Board in connection with the Economically Distressed Areas Program funding for the design of a public water supply system for Shafter.
Rolls
Trey,
right
why
off
do you-
the tongue, huh, Judge?
Trey, why are your agenda items always 400 words plus?
I just like to be difficult. Good
Your
morning.
issue-
Good
Good morning.
morning. Good morning, Judge. Good morning, commissioners. Good to be with y'all again. This memorandum of understanding is part of the process that the Water Development Board requires to establish a water supply's water rights. And so the legal department at Water Development Board didn't really understand what the relationship is between the county and the Shafter Public Water Supply. And so I had written them a series of emails, and then I also sent them a couple of columns that I had written about this. And so then they came back and they said, okay, well, we need an MOU. And I said, how do I do that? And they said, oh, just copy and paste some of the things you sent to us in those emails. It'll be easy. So this MOU was put together based on another MOU that had been done with the county, and I just sort of inserted some different language, and then especially kind of background on what had happened in the past. I guess for those in the room who don't maybe know this, that there was a big effort back in the 90s by Monroe Elms when he was the judge to get funding to create water systems for the colonias of Redford, Ruidosa, and Candelaria. And so just based on that history, I was sort of formulated this MOU. But really, I mean, just between you and me, this is just another piece of paper that they need signed and notarized. And so that's why I'm bringing it to you today.
So it's mostly just housekeeping.
Yeah, they love paper, and they love signatures. And so this is just another piece of paper with some signatures on it.
Yeah, reviewing it, this piece of paper does pretty much nothing. I think it's
Exactly.
hilarious.
Exactly. Yeah.
I will, just so everyone knows, the responsibilities of the county is boiled down to only this. The county shall continue to pursue funding necessary to establish a public water supply for the colonia of Shafter, which is just essentially saying the county will continue to pursue grants or other funding, which is something we would do regardless of this MOU. So
Right.
there's very little legal exposure on this document, so I'm fine with it.
Thank you, Blair.
Thanks, Blair.
So any other discussion? I know there's, I have a contingency of people from the wonderful town of Shafter. I'll allow you if you want to speak on this agenda item, if you'd like to.
I'll speak a little bit real quick.
David Long.
David Long, yes, I'm a resident of Shafter and resident of Waterbury right now. This is something we desperately need in Shafter. We've been without potable water for 3 years now. And we're doing everything we can. We need community support, we need county support to get this through. We are dependent on water from the old Shafter silver mine right now. And that's not dependable. It has to be shut down every time we have a thunderstorm. It is not being chlorinated. We don't know what the status of the mine is. They're going through several bankruptcies and legal court decisions and everything else. So we don't have a secure water supply in Shafter. So this is a very needed
Endeavor.
development that's coming along.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else? No? Any other discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve a memorandum of understanding between Presidio County and the Shafter Public Water Supply Corporation as requested by the Texas Water Development Board in connection with the Economically Distressed Areas Program funding for the design of a public water supply system for Shack.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. So, David Long and Judge, if y'all could sign those, two copies before your, or I guess just one copy, because we'll just, email it to the Water Development Board. But please do that today. And Carrie, if you could scan and send that to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Good
Have
luck.
a good day.
You too. You're excused. I had criminal court yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
And I think it's funny whenever they ask. I guess it's protocol. I guess it's they ask to be excused.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a high school teacher and I'm letting them. Yeah. The next item, let me see here. I have Arian. So she's agenda number 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Agenda number 5, discussion with action to accept a letter from Terry Bishop resigning from the Presidio County Historical Commission.
Is Arian gonna be presenting it all? Probably not.
He's not,
Commissioners,
I'll do it for the historical commission. It's not that much.
Perfect.
Yeah, so Terry Bishop has given us a letter of resignation for the Presidio County Historical Commission. It's our understanding that when he first became a member of PCHC, it was intended to be on a temporary basis to get it off the ground since we were kind of reinvigorating it. And so now that has happened and he finds it is his time to step down. So this is as a formality, because these are all appointed by the county commissioners court. So we're asking y'all to accept his letter of resignation.
Claire, the one question I have for you, in Terry's letter, he talks about that the commission is in the process of looking at dropping the number of board members, which I think is a fabulous idea. Do you see a time when that might occur?
Well, I think so. There was initially some confusion at our last meeting that we had a week or two ago. Arian had brought up the possibility of changing our bylaws to go down to 5. I let her know that the law, like the Texas government code, requires a minimum of 7 on a county historical commission. We started off with 9, right? So we obviously met the minimum of 7. We're at the point now, if you accept Terry's resignation, I believe we're at 7. And then the next item will be to appoint Joaquin Peña, who wants to fill a vacant position that became vacant last year. So we're backfilling a previously vacant position, not Terry's vacant position. So I believe we'll be at 8 at that point. And I know we don't love even numbers on boards, but it doesn't affect our quorum requirements because our quorum requirements is a set number, not a percentage basis. But yeah, so that was the original, I think, thought or hope for Arian was that we could drop down to 5, but legally we cannot. 7, the way I have it, the way I wrote it in the bylaws came directly from the statute that requires a minimum of 7. So if we go down to 7, great. Right now they're 2-year terms. The county commissioners have already filled, of course, last January filled 9 positions. So we can only go up until a max of 9 positions until the next term begins, or we can drop down to 7 if we and the county commissioners court chooses not to fill vacant positions as they come vacant. So does that make sense?
Yes. Chris.
Totally. With that, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I move that we accept the letter from Terry Bishop resigning from the Presidio County Historical Commission.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Agenda item number 6, discussion with action on appointing Joaquin Peña of Redford to the Presidio County Historical Commission to fill a vacant position. And I think Ms. Park explained that vacancy and the thought process behind it. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we appoint Joaquin Peña of Redford to the Presidio County Historic Commission to fill the vacant position.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
all.
You're welcome. Thanks for stepping up, Ms. Park. Agenda item number 7 is discussion with action to accept the FY25. Is that 25 or 26?
For stormwater, Judge,
Yes.
it goes like you're behind.
Okay.
It's 25.
So discussion with action to accept the FY25 award for the Operation Stone Garden Grant, grant number 3823108 in the amount of $248,586,000.
Yes, good morning. The award is ready in eGrants and we just have to get Commissioners Court approval so that we can go ahead and activate that award. And then, we'll get the budget set up and get going with that.
I'll bring that budget amendment next meeting for that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Makes sense.
Okay. Any discussion? Any questions for Sean or the Sheriff's Office? I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll move that we accept the FY25 award for Operation Stone Garden Grant, grant number 3823108 in the amount of $248,586.
I'll second that, Judge.
Very good. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Agenda item number 8, a discussion only. I'll emphasize it again, discussion only regarding an assignment of a 911 address to property located on Russell Street with a subdivision plat in Shafter, you're fine, in Shafter, Presidio County, Texas. So, and I think we have everyone that's concerned. I know we still have, again, some more Shafter people. We have ex-judge, County Judge Monroe Elms. We have Matthew. And let me see, I think we have, I noticed case moratorium is on. And I see that we have Ms. Park. So we will begin this. Again, discussion only. And I want to have a good conversation. I think we tried this last time. And I really liked where we were going and what we were talking about. Because we're getting a lot of information. We're just trying to make it make sense in our heads. That's all we're trying to do. So who wants to start off? I think the last time, I don't know if you want to give a refresher of where we were at last time, Ms. Park.
Oof. Someone would need to
No,
show
if
the
not,
maps.
let me not, I'll take the ball back out of your corner. Let me hand it over to Matthew Stevens.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak on this.
Matthew, if you would introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Matt Stevens, and I own one of the 2 properties that we're currently trying to obtain a 911 address for in Jackson. And I would start with giving you some background on subdivision. Subdivision plat is recorded in volume 44, page 168 of the Presidio County Plat Records on June 11, 1936. It depicts Russell Street and expressly dedicates the streets and alleys shown on the plat as public right-of-way. And that dedication is on the recorded plat. The plat remains a record, and I'm unaware of any kind of action vacating or amending anything on Russell Street. And I don't believe it exists. Under the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 232, recorded subdivision plats establish legal configuration of lots, streets, and right-of-way. And that's what it's done by, via it's being recorded as an official plat in Presidio County. Russell Street appears on a recorded plat. It's been part of the public record for approximately 90 years. And for the purposes of this discussion, the question is not whether the subdivision would meet modern development standards if created today. The question is whether a street shown in a valid recorded plat should be recognized for addressing purposes. Jimenez Street, which appears on the same recorded plat, recognized and has assigned address on several houses. Russell Street derives from that same dedication. And as a result, I believe it's reasonable to discuss whether the same recorded instrument should be applied consistently throughout the subdivision. And between addressing and development regulation, I understand there may be broader concerns regarding historic subdivision infrastructure, water systems, septic systems, or model subdivision rules. However, these topics involve development regulation and policy considerations that extend beyond the scope of this agenda item. The issue before the court today is not approval of a new subdivision. It's approval of new lots or approval of a septic system or water system or future development. The issue before the court is whether or not Russell Street, as shown on a recorded subdivision plat, should be recognized for 911 addressing purposes. 911 addressing exists to assist emergency response, public safety, and accurate location identification. Recognition of the street shown on a recorded plat promotes consistency between official records, mapping systems, and emergency addressing systems. My conclusion, the purpose of today is not to seek changes to subdivision regulations, infrastructure requirements, water policies, septic policies, or county development standards. It's simply to discuss the recognition of Russell Street for 911 addressing for purposes based upon the recorded subdivision plat and existing public record.
Okay. Miss Park, were you able to hear all that?
Not all of it, but I do have the gist, and I pulled up the maps. So basically what we had kind of glossed over in the last discussion on this, looking at the originally recorded plat from, what is this, 1936 of Shafter Town, the Russell Street as it runs southwest and northeast has been dedicated to the public. So that's already been publicly dedicated through this plat back in 1936. Now, the survey that was provided, done on 2023, shows Russell Street not only there, but also shows that it turns and continues northeast, but the plat does not have the road there, and the plat doesn't indicate who owns the property there. So the plat does show part of that Russell Street as being dedicated to the public, but that back area of Russell Street has not been dedicated, at least not according to the plat that I'm looking at. If there's another dedicatory instrument, I haven't seen it, and we don't know who owns that property, so we can't declare that portion of land as a road without a dedication. I'm not sure if that solves the problem. I'll let Ann, I think Ann is on here, Ann or Casey, kind of discuss whether Russell Street, as it's shown on the plat, will address the issue that Mr. Stevens has. But if it requires Russell Street on the back end, and I wish I could show you or share my screen with you to show you, but that back end part, we can't declare that a road because we don't know who owns it. It hasn't been dedicated,
I remember it from the last meeting. Yeah. He's saying this is not this one. This is Bueno. This is mine. Yeah. Sorry. Blair, Miss Park, do you want to share your screen?
If I can, I think I might need a permission. So let me see. I'm going to try.
No, I haven't opened where you should.
Okay, let me give it a
Well,
shot.
I don't know, or maybe Anne wants to share her screen or Case.
Okay, I've got it. I think. Can y'all see my screen?
The same one I have, Blair.
Okay. Can you see my cursor moving around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So according to the plat, and I wish I could have the plat next to it, but can you see the plat when I pull it up?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
According to the plat, this purple highlight, Russell Street, it should say street, it says Strit, you know. This has been dedicated to the public because if you read this little bitty font here, this little bitty, it says dedicate to the public, the streets and alleyways shown there on the plat. So this Russell Street here, back in 1936, was dedicated to the public as a public road. That doesn't necessarily mean it was accepted by the county as a county road, but it is a public road because that's a whole different legal issue. Now, this pink highlight back here, this plat ends before the pink highlight. This is not part of a street back here. Like it is shown on the new survey. So the new survey is just mistaken on Russell Street taking a turn. This is not shown on the plat. And again, unless I'm missing a whole nother document, but I haven't seen anything else.
Blair, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The new survey that was done by Matt's dad, Connor Stevens, I'm not seeing a signature on his stamp. And was this ever presented to Commissioner's Court?
No, I mean, this isn't a plat. So this would never have been, you know.
Okay, so it wasn't a replatting to.
There is an official survey with a signature and a stamp, but the thing, can I speak? The thing about these lots that is in the lot that was asking for addresses on, these two lots right here is on, it has nothing to do with this up here. Even this lot, the address would be on Russell Street right here. It has nothing to do with anything. All on this street right here, and these two lots are specifically for addresses. And there is an official survey on all of those lots.
So I think, would it be safe for me to say, and this might not be right, was the assumption made that pink strip, that that's the way it would have formed itself? Is that why that's in there?
I have no idea why the pink strip is there. It's not part of the plat. It's not a right of way that's on this plat. So it's not something that we're concerned with. It has nothing to do with these lots that we're talking about.
Yeah, the plat is simply just mistaken on that upper portion of it. But is
But the pink is a right of way easement, right? For gas? Is that correct?
No. If it's a right of way for utility, I don't know about it.
There is the utility easement there.
Okay.
But it's not a dedicated right of way. It's just a utility.
Okay, with who?
It's electric, so I don't know if it's AEP.
Rio Grande.
Yeah, so if it's if it's like a overhead line easement, that would have been specifically granted for that one purpose and not for a right of way easement, not like an access easement. But if I heard correctly, and I'm sorry, it's hard to hear. If I heard correctly, the pink is not an issue. And the fact that it is not listed on here doesn't create an issue for what they're looking for. The other thing that we noted at the last meeting, in our quick discussion, is that the county doesn't issue 911 addresses. So I can tell you what on here is been, dedicated to the public, but it's still not our authority to issue a 911 address on these streets. That is a different entity. And it sounded to me at the last meeting that, and I don't want to speak for Casey or Ann, but it sounded like they didn't just want to see that it was dedicated. They wanted to see more, it being maintained, which is a separate issue than what we're talking about here. Right here, we're talking about whether it's legally dedicated to the public, and the purple is. I don't know if it's been accepted by the county as a county road, because this is from 1936, and I'm certainly not going to go through 1936 Commissioner Court records to dig around for that. But we can presume so because Jimenez Street and Chavez Street and I think Cibolo Street are all county roads. So presumably the way those became county roads is that the county accepted the roads shown on the plat and which would have included Russell Street. That's a presumption, but that's the presumption I have.
Claire, in looking at the last like 10 years of county road, Russell Street has never been on there. So,
Okay.
You look at Ruben's maps, right? You know, because we have to make sure that we say each year what are county roads and what are not county roads.
Right.
Russell Street.
So-
And
this is where I come with
let me interject real quick, Blair. Ms. Park, I'm sorry. This is exactly why I thought this was so important, because for the same argument you're making, we've never recognized Russell Street. It's never been developed. Nobody ever questioned it. It was uncovered somehow, some way. I'm seeing the same thing tenfold where the Transmigrantes are, because all this was developed right around, what year did you say this was, 1930? This is, everybody has seen that big, beautiful map that shows 1930, the railroad is coming. They subdivided and platted everything. I mean, you go all the way up. They thought, I guess they thought we were going to be the next Del Rio Pass or something, because it's all platted. And we're running into the same thing. So we have now most of these properties along 67 North, the Transmigrante, they're being sold in 10, 15, 20 acre plots, but they're subdivided. And what we're running into is neighbors are coming back and saying, this guy's putting up a fence and he's blocking off this road and we haven't addressed it. This is just going to continue to grow if we don't, again, this is a discussion only. This is just for us to have a good conversation about it. I know emotions are going to be high. We have people that sit on this side. We have people that sit on that side. I just want to have a good discussion to make it clear for myself, for Ms. Park and the commissioners. Eventually we'll have to make a decision, but to give us a clearer picture of where we're at. So yeah.
Well, I'll say legally, the way this reads,
Let me assure everybody here that has an issue in this matter. I'm going to let you speak. I promise you. So go ahead, Ms. Park.
Okay, so just to clarify and make sure everyone's on the same page, Russell Street and Jimenez Street and Cibolo Street, all the streets that are shown on this really, crude hand-drawn map, those have all been dedicated to the public. So regardless of whether the county accepted them as a county road, they are public roads and anyone in the public has the right to access those roads. So there is legal access. And that's what, as my understanding, is required for the RioCog to issue 911 addresses is legal access, which is different than if it's a county road. So you can have legal access to a property and it not be through a county road or a street. It can be through a different instrument. And that's what we have here. So there is legal access to those properties. In my view, I mean, I don't work for RioCog, so I can't speak on this. In my view, they should be able to get 911 addresses because they do have legal access. They are public streets. They've been publicly dedicated streets. The issue of whether it's being graded and maintained by the county is a separate issue from legal access. The legal access exists. The easement for the public right of way exists on the road. It's legal. It's on paper right now. That's I don't think anyone's contesting that.
What I would like to do is hear from Annie and Casey, because you're saying, and I agree with you, you're saying there's legal access, but my understanding is what the Rio Grande COG does is they then have that legal address in place for ambulance and fire, right? It's not just about a landowner getting legal access. So Annie or Casey, can you speak to where you are on this specific agenda item?
Hello?
I'll go ahead. Anne, do you want to go ahead and speak on this? And just so that everybody knows, by the way, I'm Casey. Anne has been facilitating all of our requests for this region since November, so she's really more of our primary on this situation. So I'm going to let her speak about it a little bit, but we do agree as well. We can be ready to go with this roadway pending the discussion today. But go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, so basically, when it comes to 911 addressing, the main focus is it a dispatchable location? So dispatchable means, can I give turn-by-turn directions and get the emergency equipment to the person that needs it? With that being said, as the judge kind of mentioned, they did all these grandiose plans and then they didn't kind of follow through. So in the process of researching, we start looking at plats. We look for, as Blair spoke, that easement. This has got it. So if the county and the commissioners decide to go ahead with accepting this road, that's great. We can address a 911 from there. The question of maintenance is kind of in part to that dispatchable location. I have seen in the past where someone really wants that 911 address, and so they cut the road initially, but then years down the road, we try to access them for a 911 call, and that road's not quite as maintained as it used to be. And it makes our dispatchable location kind of comment in question. So that was just kind of something that we bring to the commissioners, but it's ultimately your guys' decision. If you are good with the easement and you're good with how it's written, we will put it in. We'll get that 911 address out. I just needed that permission to add that street into the map because it wasn't previously. We only had, according to how the county roads are drawn, and I can show you that picture, it's only Jimenez and then that Shafter Cemetery Road. So the two roads there, Russell and Aurora and
I think Cibolo.
Cibolo, yes.
Yep.
Those aren't in our map because they weren't really, according to my aerial imagery as of 2024, they weren't really cut into the ground. So I'm guessing that's why the county road map didn't match, because they weren't being driven on, they weren't being used. So yeah, we're good to go for the 911. If the commissioners and the county go, yeah, this is from 1936, we didn't need before, but we need it now, I'll pop it into the 911 map and we can get on our merry way. But ultimately it is the commissioners, you know, you guys want to go with that name, Russell, that's great. You want to go with the Cibolo name, that's great. I will have to rename Aurora, that portion there, because currently it's Shafter Cemetery Road, to match the plat. But yeah, our goal is to get a 911 address for everyone. It's just sometimes these subdivisions didn't get fully flushed out, and so we're kind of having to backtrack and go, okay, do we still think this road's important to the county? If so, we're good to go.
So yeah, there's a lot there to chew on. I think I see Monroe Elms. He's chomping at the bits. I know he wants to give his 2 cents. So I'm gonna kick it off just for a minute. And again, we'll have interaction with each other. But I'm gonna kick it off to Mr. Elms.
Well, what I would like to interject here is that even though the plat was platted and maybe put on the Shafter map, it doesn't mean that it was accepted by the county commissioners court. There's no evidence of that as of yet, that it was approved by the commissioners. So until these people that want to do this prove that it was accepted by the commissioner's court, it was just stuck on there by some surveyor, 2 different things. What we have to go with nowadays in the real world, and this has been explained to other people, and I was told we were going to have a attorney general's opinion, but it's been 1.5 years and nothing's been done. So the only way we can solve this issue as to whether this is a valid plat, whether this is a valid county road, is through an attorney general's opinion. The county has to ask for it and receive it. After it's been received and they say yes or no, then you can proceed with 911 or whatever you want to do. Since all of this took place in 1936 or whenever, the state of Texas has tried to protect ourselves from what are called colonias. When I was county judge, as Trey talked about, we put in water in Candelaria, Ruidoso, and Redwood. And the people in Las Pampas wanted water. They demanded that the county give them water like we did these other subdivisions. But what happened was the Attorney General's office said that Las Pampas, even though it was platted, and even though it was put on the county maps, it's an illegal subdivision. It's an illegal colonial by law. Not that I'm saying this is by law. So if it's by law that it's an illegal subdivision, we know that these exist. And what the state doesn't want to do is, let me just kind of read over these, what I'm reading, and I don't have enough to pass out to everybody. They're called colonial prevention law. John, would you like to interject something on this?
Well, all I'll say, Judge, is that the county should be aware of the Chapter 232 certification of any subdivisions, as well as these model subdivision rules. And to the extent that there are lots reflected in the 1930s plat, those lots were created in 1930. If there's other property that's outside of that plat, then the more modern regulations would be in effect, and the county should just be, if the county does allow the creation of a 911 address, they need to be very clear that that's not implying an endorsement as far as Chapter 232 certification of the parcel creation.
Yeah, I think that's what makes this so interesting, because I know exactly what you're talking about. What Mr. Stevens is saying, I just want a 911 address. He didn't say he's going to put a mansion or a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or even put a tent out there and camp. I don't know what he's going to do with it. The truth is he's got a lot of hurdles to cross. So really, what is the argument? Is the argument, because I'm going back and I'm reading through some of this. In counties within 50 miles of the border, the sale of rural lots to back water and sewer services or a financial guarantee for their construction is forbidden, except by someone who resides on the lot. The sale prohibition applies to a building that was platted even long ago. And then it goes back to, the subchapter and everything that goes with it. So I understand that. And that's why I think this is such an interesting conversation to have, because this is not the first rodeo with this issue. And I just wanted us to have a stimulating conversation about it. So it was very deliberate that I made it a discussion only. I want to have a good conversation about it. So what I heard Annie say was, she says, really, logistically, it's there. Even though it's not improved, it's still on a map. And I would agree with you. I doubt we would find it on anywhere in any commissioner's court back in 1930 that they accepted all this. But we do know it's at the clerk's office. And I would think somebody with good intentions, the clerk accepted it. Please go ahead.
I'm correct. Do we know these maps are? Now, I've seen lots of flats, flat of chapters show residential areas in the cemetery.
Here's what I will tell you. I've heard stories from my grandfather that the surveyor that was out here it was a one guy surveyor with a couple of burros, and they used a rope. And he had a helper who did not speak any English, and they would literally sit up and they'd go like that.
So that means.
And then they,
Maps are.
I think it's, again, I go back, what technology was available to them? How accurate were they? But again, the only historical records that we have are at the clerk's office. That's all we have to go by. So I'm not gonna.
What it says in these laws, that if there's any question about the plat, it has to be replatted and brought to the commissioner's court for acceptance. And we live under the EDAP rules. You all, the county commissioners and the judge today voted for these EDAP rules again for Shafter. And the EDAP rules are requirements that we have to follow in order for us to get money from the federal government. And also because we live within 50 miles of the border. Anybody that lives within 50 miles of the Rio Grande has to comply with these colonial prevention laws, whether you like it or not. And it says in here, if you will read through all the colonial prevention laws, that even if a land is platted, it has to be replatted and submitted to the commissioner for approval under these prevention laws. No land was sold up there in those subdivisions until Mr. Bob Adams started selling property up there. And he sold it because his father was the surveyor you talked about. And so he picked out various lots and he sold them to individuals illegally because we're already under the EDAP rules. And because we're under the EDAP rules, we have to specifically follow them. Whether you want to or not, we have to follow the EDAP rules. And you can ask the Attorney General's office, which I already have. So I would behoove the county to ask the county attorney to ask for an opinion to the Attorney General's office. And what it says here is that basically, and this is just an overview, you need to get on the web and get online and educate yourself because the county is under these EDAP rules. And if the water and sewer facilities have not been built at the time of the plat approval, if they have not been built, the subdivider must provide financial guarantee that they will be completed and by an operation date. What happened in Las Pampas, I worked with the Attorney General for 3 years on Las Pampas trying to get water and sewer for those people up there who need it. But it was done illegally. It was illegally platted. It was not approved by the county commissioners. So you're going to have to show to the Attorney General's office that the county commissioners approved this plat. And as of yet, you already said it. They have no record of it.
Well,
So-
I don't know if we have record. I haven't gone and dug through the
Well,
archives.
you don't have any record.
So, no,
What
well,
I've checked.
Acceptance
and I would-
of subdivision plats, that law on modern subdivision rules didn't exist in 1936.
Of course they didn't. But this
So-
is saying if.
So
it
this
exists,
plat, we
you
don't have
to
an
go-
issue of whether this plat was accepted or not.
If it didn't exist at that time, you have to have it replatted and resubmitted. That's what the law says.
Replatted for what purpose?
I think Annie brought up something that made my little gears turn. She said, so it's on the plat, Russell Street, but we've never maintained it. And then she says, as soon as the court recognizes it, then we'd be prepared to do a 911. So again, the only issue and I think I want to commend Matthew Stevens for saying my issue right now is just a 911 address. I'm not talking about like this trigger. You said something very interesting. Build it or bond it. You have to go.
That's what the law says.
That's what the law says, right? You gotta either conform to these set of standards,
Yes.
or you gotta show us that you got the money and it's gonna be invested to get this done the right way.
That's right. You gotta
That's what
put
it's-
money up in
yeah.
bonds.
Yeah. So, but really, again, that's why I'm saying I'm trying to narrow my scope of
Well, this is something
concentration.
you need to educate yourself on, so
Yes.
that you're aware of, Joe.
And that's what we're doing. I
Yeah.
think that's exactly what
Yeah.
we're doing. So when I go back and I'm thinking to myself, and these are conversations we'll have as time goes forward, is do we need to come back and recognize, would the commissioners court have to come back and say, yes, we see this plat, that's an argument, it has Russell Street, and we need to we are, as a commissioners court, we're going to recognize Russell Street, or we're not going to recognize it, one or the other. So please go ahead.
My concern is if we issue a 911 address to a subdivision plot, are we setting precedent that we have not gone through the legal process of subdividing a plot that has not been approved?
Yes. Anytime you take any action, you're setting precedent. And it goes back to the bigger problem that I see. I know this is a problem very specific to Shafter. And there's so much interest in Shafter right now. You mentioned it, the silver mine is started back up, and there's a lot of noise there. You've got the Big Bend Tidewater Foundation purchasing properties and restoring them. I think their next project, I think they just purchased the Catholic Church. I want to say they're spending something like $3 million restoring that thing. I love the way that little courthouse looks, and even that little courtyard looks. And even then, I understand there was contention with the rocks that were put around it, and was there a right of way that was through there, and they left an opening. So there's all kinds of dissension. So are we setting precedents? Going back to your question, the answer is yes. The truth is we're going to have to set precedents on all these properties along 67 as they continue to grow, because that's all we have to go on. These 1930 plats. That's all we have to go on. So
the county to hire on a surveyor and a county surveyor. I know we don't have the money for it.
Yeah.
But it seems like our only suitable way out of this is to replat, resurvey this. There's a history of feuds and lawsuits, and it's still going on today. There's lawsuits being post-election.
I promise you, I know better than you. So, I've been right in the middle of.
My suggestion is that, Joe, you're so right. This whole situation with subdivisions, that proverbial can keeps on getting kicked down the road. And here we are, we certainly don't want to keep Matt from not getting his 911 address, but that's certainly going to open a can of worms for us. So my feeling as commissioner is, what is the harm in this court asking our county attorney to go to the Attorney General's office and helping us to get a true legal opinion that we can build off of and go from there, not just for the Shafter, but when we're dealing with Los Pampas and everything else. I mean, to me, our job is to protect the county from ourselves at times. And so that's kind of where I am, is that I really would like to see us get really good direction forward.
And Joe, one of the things that I will bring up is that when the county adapted the EDAP, the Felonious Prevention, the EDAP rules, in the rules, it says that the county is required by law to enforce it. Okay? So enforce it, what does that mean? You have to have somebody that's certified, that looks around at these issues and takes action when necessary, or brings it to the commissioner's court to take action. So you have to have somebody certified to enforce these EDAP rules. And if you're not enforcing them, you're in violation of the state contract in the contracts that you have with the Texas Water Commission, which could affect everybody here.
Oh,
The city, the county, everybody.
I hate, Trey's not on here, right? I'm not gonna disagree with you that,
Yeah.
do I want to jeopardize grant funding through EDAP or the Water Development Board or the USDA or anything for these violations? Absolutely no, I'd be crazy. Do you know how many water projects we have going on? So, but I think again, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I have tunnel vision, but I'm just trying to break this down into chunks. So the EDAP conversation is here, and the 911 address is here. Again, I don't know enough about it.
But if those,
yeah.
if that subdivision is not a legal subdivision, how can you give somebody a 911 deal?
And that's the discussion.
Yeah,
Is it an illegal subdivision? Well, today it would be. Today it would be. In 1930 it wasn't. That's the whole argument. I mean, how did people end up in chapter? Let me go off to Miss West. She finally.
Well, I just had two questions. One went to Blair Park. Blair, you had said that you weren't about to take the time to mill through all the commissioner's notes from 1936. And my question is, why not? They're there, and if you don't have the time, perhaps a clerk or somebody could do it for you, because it might be worth milling through. They're there, and that they're there for a reason. Even though they're there from 1936, they are there. And so I think before we make decisions, like Ms. Heisler had said, to get input before going ahead, wouldn't this also be good input to have before we go ahead? Let's find out what it actually does say, instead of just saying, that was 1936. So that at least we know, and then we can move forward from there and do what we need to do or not do what we have to do. And then the second question that I had is, I'm not getting it, and maybe I'm just, I don't have it here, but I'm not getting what the 911 address has to do with, I know legally you're saying it's not a legal subdivision, but are we getting ahead here? What's the harm? That's my question. What is the harm in giving a 911 address to
location?
A location. Can someone tell me what is the harm?
So to answer your first question, there's a lot of issues being conflated here. This is a legal subplat because when it was platted in 1936, it conformed with the laws, which were pretty much nil at the time. If it was going to be replatted today, then it might not meet our current model subdivision rules, but that's not the issue we have. It was platted back in and filed back in 1936. So for a subdivision plat, I don't see any issue of whether it's a legal plat. It is. And if it needs to be replatted, then whoever's having to replat it, whoever owns it, is going to have a lot of issues replatting, sure. But I don't know that the owners of the land are looking to replat. To replat something requires all of the owners of the land within the replatting area to file a replat. So counties cannot replat a subdivision that are owned by others, which is always the case, right? Only the owners of a subdivision can file a plat or a replat of that subdivision. So if it would, for whatever reason, it needed to be replatted, I'm assuming that all the lots are owned by many different individuals. I don't see that ever happening. It's just unrealistic that all of these individuals will get together and agree on a replat of the subdivision. So that's an issue being conflated because I don't really see the issue. I think we're looking at now is whether it's legal access versus a county road. I can tell you right now from what I'm looking at there is legal access to the public because it was dedicated to the public. That doesn't mean it's a county road. That's a separate thing, but it is legally is an easement granted right away to the public for anyone in the public to use. Now, if that is all that the RioCog needs to issue a 911 address, then there it is, right? There's public legal access because it was dedicated back in 1936. And I don't see an issue. I'm not RioCog. I don't see an issue with giving someone a 911 address. Obviously, we like for people to be able to have access to emergency services. Whether it's a county road is a separate issue, and that issue would require me or someone having to dig through county commissioner records from the 30s. But I'm not going to do that if that's not the issue. Does that make sense? Like if the only issue is whether there's legal access in order for this 911 address to be issued, there is legal access, great. Now, if there's going to be an issue on whether it's a county road, that's going to require digging. And I just it didn't sound like to me that that's an issue we're discussing of whether it's a county road. Now, if that's what the ask is and I'm just missing it and they're asking this to be confirmed or accepted as a county road, then that's a different issue altogether that will require more research. So we're conflating like all these different issues, but from my read of what the RioCog needs for a 911 address is just the legal access, which is there on the document. Does anyone have any questions?
If I can just clarify for Blair's purposes, the road doesn't necessarily need the classification of county. It can be a private road onto the subdivision for them. But what we do need is the commissioner's approval to add it to the 911 map because it's not currently there. So normally what happens is we bring a plat, everything looks good, or we bring a plat and we go, hey, there's some weirdness with this plat. Here you go, commissioners. We need to add this road because we have a requester needing a 911 and we don't have this road on our map. Then we bring it to you guys and you decide how you want to classify the road, how you want to, is it county, is it private? But all we normally do is have a plat that says that public access, bring it to commissioners and go, how would you guys like us to proceed at this point? We cannot put the road in just because there's a platted dedication for public access. We need your permission to go, yes, we acknowledge this plat, this easement, this road, you can add it to the 911. Does that help clarify, Blair?
It is helpful. Thank you, Anne. Let me share a story. Let me share a story a little bit about the colonial laws. When they came into effect, I want to say it was in the mid 80s. And I think everybody here has been to El Paso. And as you're driving into El Paso on the north side of I-10, it's nothing but sand. That's all it is. There were property owners that were going and selling lots to people. There was no sewer, there was no water, there was no electricity, and it was cheap land. So people found it very attractive to go buy these lots, and with the promise that the owner that was selling the lots, I'll come in and put roads in later, I'll come in and put sewer and all these other things later, and never did it. And then a flood came, or a rainstorm came, and washed all these not very well built houses right from under their cardboard foundations, and it was a hot mess. And it triggered the state and the city of El Paso and everybody to go to the rescue. That's when these laws got established. So that's the premise of the colonial laws. And then we go back again. So we're going to add a little mix to it. Okay, we have platted land that hasn't been touched, undeveloped for years. Why? We didn't have the people, we didn't have the money, we didn't have the traffic, all the above. Here's where we're at. Ms. West, and the only thing I was gonna add is, I promise, the only thing we don't have enough of is time, money. Yesterday, Ms. Park and we heard, I think it was 45 criminal docket cases. My head was this big when we finished. I still had 2 or 3 hours left of the day. I had no energy to do anything. So I understand what you're saying. We have so many things going on, and some are good, some are bad, but we always have to deal with them. But I don't think anyone here has any ill intentions of doing anything wrong or not doing their official duty. Please go ahead.
I just spent 2 weeks trying to get somebody to answer the phone at the county tax office in Marfa. And I left, messages with my phone number asking they call me back. I finally got through to somebody after 2 weeks of trying, a couple of days ago. And I questioned the lady about how come nobody's responding to these voicemails I'm leaving? And she says, well, it's a very busy office. I said, you're too busy to return voicemails? Why bother to take them, And she hung up on me at that point. But, I've had very, very nice experiences with the tax appraiser's office being very helpful, but not all county offices are particularly helpful.
So I'm gonna go here. Is anybody here on this agenda item number 8, the 911 addressing, again, discussion only? Does anybody feel like they haven't been heard that wants to say something?
One other thing.
It was very convenient, I would have
Yeah, I have a few things I'd like to say in relationship to what Mr. Helms was saying. First of all, the section 232 subdivision creates a subdivision, and that recorded plat creates a legal subdivision. The subdivision in chapter that we're talking about, just like Ms. Clark says, is a legal subdivision. There's nothing illegal about it. And the creation of it creates a public right of way. And that public right of way is dedicated to what's in question here. The only thing that we're asking from the county is to allow the 911 map to be updated to include Russell Street, so that I can get a 911 address on the lot on Russell Street. That's the only thing. The street exists. It's on Google Maps. If you want to see it, pull it up. You can see it. It goes right to the lots. It exists on the ground. There's a house on this side with an address. There's a house on the other side with an address. All I'm asking for is an address on my lots on a public dedicated right of way.
Very good. Very good. Go ahead.
Why do you need the 911 address if nobody's there? It's just that.
If you wanted to have a lot, you wouldn't want an address for it. I have to have an address to do anything.
It's hard to spell.
What if I decide to put a trailer there and park in my trailer and I need to call 911? I can't tell them where I'm at.
Well, did you just say I'm right next to Brenda Worsham's house?
Yeah. 911 address for legal.
Where there is
a legal item that I'm entitled to, just like everybody else.
And I go back to the same thing. Presidio County is not the only one dealing with it. Brewster County is as well. There's a lot of property being sold out there, and then a new owner comes in, a buddy that said, "Hey, dude, how are you? They've been friends for 20 years." And then all of a sudden he leaves, he dies, whatever happened. The property gets sold. And I used to drive through here, now you're not gonna drive anymore. I don't want you coming through here. So we're running into all these issues. If we don't address them at some point, they just grow. So do we want, now it's unimproved. And it's the same thing. I think I've been stressing this over and over. If you study the Texas demographic outlook for Presidio County, it's dismal. It's not impressive at all. We're dying off and we're shrinking and we're getting smaller. And so I go back, what do we need? We need an economic opportunity. We need growth. We need more business. So we got to figure something out for us to be sustainable, because we're in the trajectory we're in, we're not. So I go back. I don't know what he's going to do with it. He's got a lot. I'll tell you what, it's like running the 440 hurdles. He's trying to get over one hurdle because there's still 15 more others to traverse through. All I'm saying is, and again, I'm going to emphasize what Ms. Park is saying. The issue before us right now, and as the agenda reads, and again, discussion only, can I have 911 address? So,
let me tell you the angle I'm coming at.
Okay.
According to the model subdivision rules,
Okay,
where anything can be subdivided or classified as a subdivision,
okay,
it has to have water and infrastructure.
okay.
Anything sold under 5 acres. And my angle is, if these subdividers want to come in, start subdividing, start selling land, get 9/11 addresses for their 2 acre plots, 3 acre plots, whatever. We need their input to help develop this water supply corporation and wastewater before we start assigning 9/11 addresses to plots smaller than 5 acres.
Can I address that?
I really was hoping to wind this down because I know we're not going to come to any kind of finality. We're not going to come to any kind of agreement. Here's what I have noticed in my 60 years walking the earth. Sometimes when I hear something and I start and I'm trying to make it make sense in my head, it doesn't come through. And then I get to linger on it and I get to ponder it and then it becomes more clear and then I see where the path needs to go. So that's all I'm trying to accomplish today. So going back to what you're saying, I hear exactly what you're saying, right? You're talking about modern subdivision rules, where I'm not talking about a modern, I'm talking about something from the 1930s. We need to focus on that. That's really
it's the 1930 block first.
No, well, yeah. Anyway, let me stop there. Is there anybody that I haven't heard from that needs to get something off their chest? Anything? Do you have anything else to add? I'm going to give Annie and Ms. Park the chance to close this out, and then I'm going to move on. Annie, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think if I've answered your questions, Blair, as to what we need, if you need anything else from me, please don't hesitate. But yeah, no, it's ultimately your guys' decision. We're just bringing you what we have and going from there.
Thank you so much. Ms. Park?
I think, as a clarification, I think Rio Cog just, for whatever reason, needs the county to bless, I guess, their maps as they update them with roads, whether or not the roads are county roads or a private road going into someone's ranch. I think it's a funny need because the county, you know, when we're talking about private roads, the county doesn't really have the authority to say, yes, this private road is a good road. You know, that's not really our position, but I understand the Rio Cog wants to, you know, they're another governmental entity. They have red tape, and to the extent that they need the county to bless a map, regardless of whether the road is private or public or a county road or a city road or whatever it may be, in order to issue 911 calls, I think in this case we can do that, and with the careful caveat that we are approving the map and the road thereon for formality purposes only, and that we are not accepting any roads as a county road, just to clarify our legal position, and that way we're not, no one thinks we're accidentally or purposely creating county roads when that's not the intention. And that way we can get people 911 addresses, because obviously access to emergency services is extremely important for the public and the residents of our county. So I think that's really the issue we've got here, is just a little convoluted and a little clouding over how the procedure is versus what people think is happening. So if that's all that needs to be done, is kind of like a county's saying, yes, we agree with the updated maps from Rio Cog, that's fine with me, as long as we, again, confirm that we are not adding county roads that have not already been dedicated.
Thank you so very much.
May I say something real quick? So Blair hit the nail on the head. The reason we come to the Commissioner's Court for approval of roadways has nothing to do with, is it private, county? That really doesn't matter to us. We are coming to you for approval, which this isn't an action item today, but we do that because we are altering the maps. Whether we add, remove, or revise a roadway, this data belongs to you, the county. Every single layer that we work with belongs to the county. We facilitate this process on your behalf, right? So it's, as she said, it's really more of a formality than anything. It's making, but it's also making sure, did you do your due diligence? Is there actually a right of way there? Did we choose a name that matches another in the county? You know, things like that. There's a lot of reasons why we come to the Commissioner's Court for that formal final approval on a roadway. So just to make that perfectly clear to everyone, that's why we do what we do.
Thank you so much. I'm going to move on from this agenda item. We have so many other agenda items to discuss. I know many of you are going to leave not satisfied, but the intent really was to have a good discussion. So yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to move on. That was a discussion item only. I'm going to move on to, thank you so much, everyone. Any case, I'm going to move on to discussion number 9, or agenda item number 9, discussion with action to approve the declaration of local state of disaster regarding the threat of the New World Screwworm. I actually met, let me see, today is Wednesday. On Monday, I had a meeting with, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. with Secretary of the USDA, Brooks Rollins. And we were discussing the screwworm. I'm glad we have some Parks and Wildlife people here so they can, you know, they can give us what their take is on it as well. But they have, cases are popping up all over. So does everybody know what the screwworm is? So here's what we do know. We know that we can't cross cattle anymore, even though that's an economic driver in Presidio County. We can't cross cattle anymore because of the screwworm as it started to work its way northwards. Yesterday, Monday, they had a case in Terrell County, which is Sanderson. And I think over the weekend, they had a case in Andrews County. So just west of Midland, Odessa. Please go ahead, Ms. Nunez.
To me, I think it's very interesting, the screwworm. I work with the screwworm since 2021. It's so interesting that in the US, the cases are popping up so much. USDA gave us a memo, which is more like a book, this big, to how we could protect our cattle in Mexico. Mexico has been diligent about trying to stop the screwworm. There's traps everywhere. Chihuahua is one of the cleanest states in Mexico. So, and I don't know how it's spreading so rapidly in the US, so I don't know if when they caught the first case in Tamaulipas, that was 400 miles away from the border, if the US kind of thought it's too far, it's too long, it's not gonna, when Mexico, they've been very, we have protocols since 2021. So, which I'm assuming this is why, because I think now there's more cases in the US than were in Mexico.
I think we're up to, Texas is up to 31, I think.
Exactly. And when, I don't understand how this is happening in Texas versus Mexico when it started, when it originated. You know, the first case was reported in Mexico, and that's when everything closed. You had to do all this thing. We spent millions of dollars trying to get this done, and we did get it done. Then we spent more millions of dollars trying to get the Mioca done, and we got it done. And nothing has come out of our state, the state next door.
So I think I have another meeting with Secretary Rollins next week. I'd love it if some of anyone concerned or that wants to hear directly from the horse's mouth, I'd invite you to that meeting. I'll say, because I was, again, focused on just livestock. And come to find out, a lot of this is, what I'm seeing, the fawns are starting to drop with the mule deer, goats. I mean, it's popping up on everything. One of the interesting conversations was feral hogs, and there's a feral hog program, and obviously we're trying to eradicate them. But a lot of these hogs that they're shooting, it's whether it's unpopular or not, they're shooting them from helicopters, and they're wounded. And a lot of times they're roaming around. Well, they're even finding cases of it on this. I know I have some parks and wildlife people here. Do you guys have anything to add on the school worm? Have you guys been briefed or?
We do representatives that went to the specific training for that, through our department of representatives. Any type of questions and things like that, we would direct it to them. Your Omar about it and Gabriel.
Yes. So I think a lot of the concerns is that these ranchers would be very hesitant to say, I think I have a screwworm, because the consequence is quarantine. So, which
Why are we gonna quarantine?
that's one of the triggers. Now, here's what I did get that gave me some resolve. When I talked about, I said, if I was a rancher, and I'm like, I think my calf has a screwworm, I think I'd be like, do you want me to go call USDA? Oh, hell no. Don't call anybody. Let's just quarantine the cow ourselves. That's what would be one of the selfish things I would want to do. So in this, what they're explaining to me is that's not our intent. Our intent is not to punish anyone. But as we're finding these designations like Terrell County, I think the next drop, they were going to drop 30 million over the contingent branches around it to try to contain it. So I guess that's kind of one of those things. What are we going to do about it? The intent of this resolution that we're passing is obviously for us to be better prepared, again, in advance of anything. There's funding, there's help that can be gotten from the state or from TDA or from USDA to help us combat this. So this is just us doing our due diligence to say, I'm asking to pass a resolution declaring a local disaster for the threat of the New World Screwworm, and that's the only intent of this. It's gonna let us be able to talk to our federal partners and our state partners, and if something comes up, that we'll be eligible to say, yes, we've already declared an emergency, and we'll be one step ahead of where we're going with this. So,
Yeah, the state has already declared it, so.
As a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that the majority, if not all of the counties around us have already declared. I think Hudspeth, Culberson, Brewster, Jeff Davis already have. So, and that's where we're at. So, Ms. Park, did you have a chance to read through the resolution?
So
any concerns?
I just got a copy of it about 20 minutes ago. So what we do on these disaster declarations, the one that is currently in the drive, that one's for the judge. That's a judge's order of disaster declaration. Judge, that is one that you sign the second a disaster comes up, because obviously there's generally there's no time to come to a commissioner's court. So you can sign that right now. You don't need approval from commissioner's court to sign a disaster declaration. Under the government code, your disaster declaration is good for up to 7 days. And at that point, it would need to be renewed and or extended by the commissioner's court. There is not an order extension in the drive. I'll have to draft that. So I'm going to give you a little slap on the hand, Judge. If you send this to me on Monday, I could have had it drafted before today. But let's do this. You sign, go ahead and sign your declaration order. Like I said, you don't need approval to sign the initial local disaster declaration. And then whoever wants to do the motion, it has to be stated that, let me see how your agenda items worded.
Would take effect on so if we do it, in the agenda item would read, we approve the declaration of the disaster of the threat of the New Screwworm to take effect 7 days after the county judge's declaration.
No,
would that suffice?
No, it would be even simpler than that. It would be an order to approve and extend indefinitely the judge's disaster order declaration signed on this day, June 24th. And that way it's fine for your order and for their order extent and the commissioner's court order extension to happen on the same day. That doesn't have to be a 7-day period. The 7-day grace period is simply because disasters, often occur when there's not a commissioner's court, and that gives the commissioner's court time to get together and extend it beyond the 7 days. I will need to draft that extension order for the Commissioners Court, but I can do that this afternoon. But just so you know, go ahead and sign that disaster declaration.
No, but what Hudspeth did when we spoke with Hudspeth, she did the judge. Cheatham said we had to take this to Commissioner's Court, this one. And then what she did is the next Commissioner's Court, she did the extensions order.
Well, and that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
It would expire at 7 days, and our next meeting isn't for what? 60.
Yes.
There would be a lapse.
But yeah, they took the lapse in Hudspeth.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
And I think what Ms. Park is saying, we can circumvent the lapse by the way we make the motion. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can.
What? Today's day? Okay.
Yeah, and if you prefer to play it safe and just bring it to the next one, if it lapses, then what will happen is it's not just an extension, it would have to be a renewal and an extension. So it just changes the legal verbiage on the document. But otherwise we'll get it papered in a legally appropriate way.
Okay. So any other discussion? Anyone wants to discuss screwworm? Anything to add? And so I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve and extend indefinitely the judge's declaration of local state of disaster regarding the threat of the New World screwworm effective June 24th, 2026.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Knight at one point in time said that any time that we pass a resolution, we have to read it. Is that?
I guess I can read it if you guys
Yeah,
want.
if you don't mind reading it.
Do you have it printed out, Patty?
Yes.
Is
This
that
isn't
correct,
a
buddy?
resolution, if that makes sense. This is an order. But you can read it. I think it's great.
Oh, he said that they're saying, or Ms. Park is saying, this is a order, not a
Great.
resolution.
Wonderful, so you don't have to read it.
No, but you can if you'd like to. Nothing against
Let me
that.
see. I would not like to.
Yeah.
But
You can read the meaty parts if you want, but yeah, it's a lot of legal
I'm gonna
verbiage.
leave it up here for anybody in the audience that wants to read it, and we're gonna load it up on our drive, so it'll be available there.
Great.
So, but anybody that
So Blair, we only have to read out resolutions, not orders or anything.
Right. And that's what he has in front of him is a judge's disaster declaration, not a commissioner court declaration. So even if you needed to read it out loud, that's not the commissioner's court declaration. That one's the judge's.
Got it.
Okay, so we'll move on to number 10. We were talking about economic development, but this is right along that path. The next item, discussion with action for Presidio County to apply for designation as an opportunity zone.
Okay, this one's on me. Last Thursday, the judge and I had a nice conversation with Christian Strobel of Strobel Development, who brought to our attention the potential of Presidio County applying to become an opportunity zone. And what enough, I was hoping Christian would be on there, but I'm not seeing him.
I am on.
What
He said he's on.
Oh, Christian, great, thank you. Well, I'm gonna start this and you pick it up, Darwin.
Okay.
An opportunity zone is federal tax incentives designed to attract private investment to low-income communities. It's part of the One Big Beautiful bill, and this is no cost. This isn't a tax incentive that the county's giving. It's no cost to the county. They operate through qualified opportunity funds, offering deferral, basis step up, and tax-free growth on capital gains. We are, Mr. Strobel has offered to put an application forward to the governor's office, as I recall, to attempt to get Presidio County designated, but this designation alone does not generate investment, but it does make the potential more viable. Governors nominate up to 25% of eligible low-income census tracts for opportunity zone designation. And that is coming up upon us. Y'all should know that this is round 2 of the potential of being an opportunity zone. In round 1, more than $1 billion in qualified investment flowed into targeted areas.
Yeah.
So Presidio County being targeted as an opportunity zone would be a wonderful thing to bring some type of economic development into our community.
So,
Have I captured it, Christian? Can you add to that?
Yeah, I think you've captured it. Essentially, what happens is counties have to apply to the Texas Economic Development and Tourism Office, who then score all the different counties based on eligibility, and then it gets forwarded to the governor, who then makes the final decision about which counties to approve. So it's no guarantee that we will get approved, but it would be put forward to the Texas Economic Development and Tourism Office, who would then decide whether to put it on Governor Abbott's desk to be signed. Essentially, one of the things that an application needs is a viable project, because they don't want ghost applications where there won't be any direct investment as a result of it. And so we are going to put forward a project that we have as the project that makes it, a real application, essentially. So we will be, submitting it on behalf of the county. We don't get any sort of direct benefit, but if we do secure investment, the investors will get a benefit on their federal taxes, essentially, if they invest in Presidio County. And this designation would apply to any project in the whole census tract. So it's not specific to a project, but the governor's office wants to know that if it is designated, and if he does select Presidio County as one of the zones, that it's not going to be what they call ghost zones, where they designate but then nothing happens. And so because he's only allowed to designate 25% of the qualifying tracts, having a project is very important to getting approved. So we the deadline for it is the 26th, so in 2 days. And there's a 10-point scale, essentially. 2 of the points are for a viable project. 2 of the points are support from the local jurisdiction, which would be you. And then the rest are already designated based on poverty rates and median income. So so if you guys do want to move forward with this, there's a resolution that is on the table here that basically shows county support for it. If you guys approve that resolution, that will become part of the package that goes to the Texas Economic Development and Tourism Office. And I'll stop speaking there, because I'm sure none of you want to hear my accent in Texas.
I like your accent.
Okay.
I have a question. Also help, whenever you have grants that you're requesting, that they do not require a match once you have this designation?
I think this one's completely independent. Any other, granting agencies like the Water Development Board or USDA, they have their own scoring matrix. This one, and unfortunately for us, we qualified. So basically what they do is they look at the state of Texas and they say, where do we have nothing happening? Absolutely nothing. There's no growth. Matter of fact, it's dying. Oh shit, there's Presidio. That's where we're at right now. So unfortunately, we're going to score high on the low income, on the medium income, on the poverty rate. We're going to score very high. But to his point, they need a viable project to add those extra 2 points. That kicks us over the top. So, but this
just to answer the specific question, there is zero, other than the time it will take, and we'll put it together. Other than the time it'll take to make the application, there is zero zero tax incentives coming from the county. There is $0 coming from the county. There is zero administrative costs coming from the county, because basically what happens is once the investor invests into Presidio County, the investor then deals directly with the IRS because they've invested into this county. So there's no actual funds coming from the federal government, and there's no funds coming from the county. All it does is it basically enables investors to invest in the area to defer their capital gains, essentially, is what happens. And that's only federal and state capital gains. So none of this affects the tax base or any cost in the county.
That's exact, and he hit it right on the head, capital gains. Yeah. So this is, if you got a 401k, you already know, if you've ever pulled money out of a 401k, you're going to get taxed on it. This mechanism allows investors with big accounts to go and say, we'll let you pull out X dollars, and we're gonna forego your taxation on it. So before I go to you, Ms. West, I'm gonna go to Mr. Kennedy, because I know he's in economic development. So do you have anything to add to this?
No, just that we should certainly take advantage of all programs and incentives to further development in our county. And I would also ask, to the extent that this might be related to more of a high-end luxury development, I hope in line with the fact that this is meant to help low-income communities, that the development will also cater to that aspect of providing jobs and community enrichment for our low-income communities as well.
Nice.
Ms. West.
And that is 100% the goal of the program, yeah.
Chapter?
Ms. West.
I would like I wonder, is this a missed opportunity program? Not an opportunity zone, but a missed opportunity zone. The way I'm looking at it, what you said, Judge, they look for where in the state, where in the country are these areas where nothing is happening. I am so tired of this. I've been here for 30 years. This community, and I'm not talking about everybody. A lot of us in here have the same mindset. I've been here 30 years. This isn't even my culture. This isn't even my home. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. But ever since the day I got here, I have just seen people who do not see that there is nothing here. There is everything here. We have everything here. We have natural beauty here. We have culture here. I've never understood this, and I'm just going to say it, and this will probably be the last time I'll say it. I don't know if I'll say it again. I'm tired of hearing that we don't have anything here. And when I would rather we're focused on what we do have. And let's bring in ecotourism. Let's bring in and natural green space energies, instead of these plans for data centers with big generators that are going to make miles long noise in our community. They're not going to provide jobs long-term for people. And this is what I've been hearing for 30 years. Jobs for the community. These big companies that are coming in here are raping our land. They're raping our people. And then we're just laying back and we're letting it happen. And you can hear it in my frustration. You hear that in me. And I'm just gonna say it. I'm fed up with it to let this happen. And don't put it on my clock that I didn't say something about it. Because like I said, I've seen this happening. And I know that's what the plan is. So these companies are going to come in and they're not going to provide jobs, and they're going to take away the land, and they're going to pollute our land. And then what are we going to have left? Just like, and this isn't, about the county, but it is too, the wall that's coming in and all the businesses and the people in this community that are selling out to this. Again, where is the big picture about what we do have here? And I would like y'all to think about this when you sign that opportunity plan, whatever. What is the opportunity that y'all are hoping will come in here? Is it going to look like it is right now? And That's my say on it.
I mean, what I can say is that the goal, two things to that. One, the goal is to just provide an environment where you can attract money to do projects like you mentioned ecotourism as an example. Like if there is a person in Presidio County who wants to sell stocks, but they're worried about all the gains they have to pay, they could sell stocks and invest it into Presidio County to build an ecotourism resort. It's less attractive for big mega projects that you're talking about because those mega projects typically don't work with sort of capital gains type capital. This generally works more for smaller projects, for someone who wants to take a strip mall and renovate it, or somebody who wants to, take over a rundown motel and renovate it. Part of the requirement here is with the opportunity zone is if you buy an asset, you have to spend at least 50% of the value of the asset on improving it. And so it's geared towards smaller projects generally, but maybe there can be bigger projects that happen with it as well. But it is about creating jobs and economic growth. I mean, there's no question about it because that's what the whole scoring system is based on.
Well, yeah, and I understand your frustration. I go back, you talk about tourism. Presidio County or Presidio proper has how many hotel rooms? 84? Ballpark? 84. Even for the projects we have going on, like the railroad construction, there's not enough room. There's not enough room for the military guys. I think we have 140 guys that are stationed here. They're staying in Alpine and Marfa. One of the things we do need is a hotel. And so if you don't have enough rooms where you can put them, I know with the best of intentions, we built the 3 baseball fields over here, the city of Presidio did, to host tournaments. There's no place for people to stay, so the tournaments never took off. But hopefully this would entice somebody like a Holiday Inn or Marriott or somebody to come and say, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this. I can save 30 cents on the dollar. I can save it through capital gains, and I'll go and build a hotel in Presidio. So that's the intent. The intent is not to ruin the culture. And I agree with you. We have a lot of good things going on here. What we don't have, when you look at the median income, it's not impressive. And it's not impressive when we go back and we say, we don't have the monies to do this. We don't have the monies to compete with Fort Stockton Independent School District or Pecos County Independent School District to retain teachers. We can't. They're paying 70 grand for a teacher. We're paying 38,000. I mean, it's getting harder and harder. So I understand the frustration. The reality is what makes the world turn is a dollar bill. So, and that's all we're trying to do is make sure that there's more money that stays here and gets spent here.
Time will tell, Judge. Time will tell.
It's a good thing to incentivize the redevelopment when done responsibly. And I know the county is very interested in expanding the tax base for our property taxes. And that's what this is all about. So we have resources.
Any other discussion? Do you have anything you want to close with?
No, that was it. This just feels like such a great opportunity when you see how much money we're losing each year with our tax base. This opportunity is incredible in my mind, and that's why I wanted to bring it forward, because if we do not start having some kind of sound economic development, we're not going to be around much.
Any other discussion?
Judge, I was just, I don't know if we should rephrase that, including the expansion of the Cosmico footprint. I know there's a lot of drama about Cosmico, about everything. If this is a resolution that is going to be kept in the county, I would take that off. I don't know.
And here's a reason why it's kept in there. And I'll let Christian. He kind of talked about the matrix on how they score.
Yes.
We already we qualify on our own. We could go do this, but we're only going to get 8 points. And the max points is 10. So the governor is going to go, what he's going to go do is, the first thing he's going to do is, if he's got 20 applications, he's going to go to the ones that have 10 already. The thing about designating a Cosmico is it's an identified project, and the property's already been purchased. There's already plans, engineering plans and everything to go with it. And they're willing to throw their name in the hat as the Cosmico project, which gives us those 2 additional points. Again, it's
Sorry,
not.
can I just interject, Judge? I misspoke earlier. The viable project is 4 points out of 10. The local support is 4 points out of 10. And then the basic economic numbers is 2 points out of 10. So I misspoke. I just wanted to clarify that.
It was 4 points.
Yeah, okay, so and clarify this for me. This is pretty much a county-wide opportunity. Even though Cosmico is a sponsor and they're going to give us the extra 4 points, any other opportunity that popped up, they would be qualified to put their name in the hat.
Yes, from the moment of the designation, so what happens is all these counties get put forward. The governor will ultimately decide which counties, which of the 25%. So he's only going to allow 1 in 4 of them to go forward. As soon as that is designated, then starting January 1, 2027, any project that happens from January 1, 2027 onwards will get these benefits, whether it's a convenience store or it has to be a business. It can't be houses, but it can be, anything, restaurants, I'm struggling to think of basically any business that acquires real estate and makes income from real estate essentially can qualify. And they don't need to apply again. It's one application for the county, and then every other project doesn't have to apply. It is an opportunity zone, so they just deal directly with the IRS and say, I'm going to invest in Presidio County. I need my benefits relative to the opportunity zone. So, yeah.
Commissioner, any other concerns? That was it.
But I get it.
Okay, you're welcome. So I'll entertain a motion. Actually, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we apply for the designation of an opportunity zone.
I'll second that.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Knight is an aye. We'll move on to discussion with action to form a transportation committee between the city of Marfa, the city of Presidio, and Presidio County.
I would say we'll table that item. It was supposed to read an interlocal agreement.
Okay.
So we'll get it.
Let's see if we can we modify this agenda item, Ms. Park? If you want it, do we already have an interlocal agreement created?
We're
So-
looking at some.
No, this is an action to form a committee, not to enter into an agreement, but you can form a committee now and then that committee work together on what the interlocal agreement should say. And then we can bring, once the committee has determined the best terms, bring that agreement to Commissioner's Court to be approved.
You have a committee?
No, because I always just send the interlocal.
Yeah.
And discuss it. And,
I think we table it.
yeah, I think we should table this item.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
are you going to want to do a committee as well in the future, Obed?
He's not ready.
Yeah, I don't think I'm trying to read between the lines. I think Commissioner Contreras is like, I don't want no committee. I just want to get it done.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to move that we table agenda item number 11.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else to add? We already have it as an agenda item as to discuss. If anybody wants to get anything out, their thoughts or anything, Commissioner Knight, Commissioner Hernandez, no?
What is this going to be, Obed?
We're gonna start working as group counties and cities on our streets and everything.
Okay.
But we need an interlocal so that we can merge these three entities and work together.
So you've already spoken with the city of Presidio and the city of Marfa?
I talked to Mayor Ferguson and to Mayor Baez. So they're on board, but we just need to do it legally, sign it off, and start working.
So an interlocal agreement, and you already have the interlocal agreement.
Yes.
You already have it. So we can't modify it, Ms. Park. Has the city of Marfa and the city of Presidio already approved them?
No, they haven't, Joe. We have to do it first, and then we'll present it to them, and they'll
And then,
take it further in your city.
okay, so this is step one of 2 or 3 other steps you got to take.
If I may, I'd like to applaud this effort, and especially when it comes to TxDOT and working with Texas Pacifico, the railroad, with customs and the port, all of our binational traffic, but especially TxDOT, as we know, coming together with one voice is very important with the transportation infrastructure.
Okay.
I agree.
So,
Good job over there.
So I'll second that motion.
so you'll second the table?
To table.
Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 12, discussion with action to approve the RFP for accepting sealed bids for the lease of a certain 5-acre tract of county property located in the North Parks area, and more specifically described in the RFP packet. Ms. Park, I'm going to apologize. I know you tried to get a hold of me last night to kind of catch me up. I guess you had some information that came in later in the evening, and I never returned your call.
No, that's fine. I'm gonna have to table this. I put it on the agenda under the optimistic hope that I could get a survey and an appraisal done of property by today, which is definitely not gonna happen. I'm trying to get identify 5 acres out in the North Park area that's unimproved, not being used for sale. In order to do that on an RFP procedure, I have to have an appraisal done by law, and in order to get an appraisal done, I have to have a survey done. So there's a lot of red tape and steps to getting it put together. So I'll bring this on another agenda whenever I have that appraisal done.
Okay.
Blair, do we have a surveyor or an appraiser identified yet?
An appraiser, yes. A surveyor, not yet. Trying to determine, depending on the location of the 5 acres, if we need a surveyor before, like a certified survey before, or if we can do a normal meets and bounds without a survey and then get the survey afterwards. So it's going to depend on where the 5 acres comes out of if we need the surveyor now.
Got it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we table item number 12.
Okay, I have a motion to table.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 13, discussion with action to approve the FYI 2026-27 Commissioners Court meeting schedule.
Judge, this is, routine every year, every summer I work on our schedule for Commissioners Court for the next year. So in your drawing, it does have, and I also have to, starting last year, I have to work it around holidays as well. So there are some days I'll be posting on Wednesday, and there's some days I'll be posting Thursday. So, but it's all in there.
Thank you for your work on this. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Oh, this really helps me, Gary. Thank you.
And this is just to stimulate conversation. Not that we haven't had stimulating conversation today. I've had some people tell me, why don't the Commissioners Court meet in the evening so that we can attend? Why do you guys do it during the day? And I'm like, I don't know. We've always done it during the day.
Because most city councils meet in the evening.
Judge, I don't think our praise will be able to fund it.
Or what? Right? Imagine getting an 8-hour day and then you come in and have to deal through one of these.
We used to do it. At the place of look like at 7 p.m.
Oh, gee.
I'm in bed by 8. That was a good question, though.
I'm good with the way it is. I'm just saying I've had people ask me.
When Judge Hunt was here, we used to do it in the
evening.
I was not.
See it right now.
We used to get home at 10, 11 midnight.
And then you can't function the next day.
So any other discussion on the court meeting schedule? Does it include all the budget stuff? Or is it pretty much just the standard?
Yeah, it's just
the required meetings plus our special meetings?
Yes, and then I do in August, for the sake of budget, put in a meeting every week just in case we need it, because something always pops up.
So you're just being a little proactive with
Yes.
that? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve FY 2026-27 Commissioners Court meeting schedule.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Ken.
I hate that you're always making motions, but you know what? I go back and I think it's my duty to not make.
No, I'm with you, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I do look down the room before.
It's just Presidios hospitality.
There you go, right?
All those motions in March.
That sounds great.
The next one is discussion, agenda item number 14, discussion with action to approve the FY 2026-2027 holiday schedule.
Okay, this is again something a routine that I do every summer. If there's anything y'all would like to change, I've kept it the same way it is since I came into working with the county judge's office. I've kept the holidays the same. I just go and look to see when they're celebrating. So if there's anything y'all would like to change or anything, let me know.
The St. Travis Day, is that still a good day? With all this
drama?
So far they haven't changed it. I know there's a promotion about it, but in the state of Texas, it hasn't been changed yet.
Just a question.
No, it was a good question.
I was wondering too.
It was a good question.
And Judge, and this helps us because now we have to budget for employees that we will be working during those holidays. So if you set your schedule already, it helps,
We already know.
I have to set the schedules for those employees.
For their overtime. Yeah.
What about these half days, and Labor Day?
This was brought in, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago because they have the Martha Lights Festival that weekend, and there's so many people coming into the courthouse.
So they want to tour the courthouse?
No, they're asking for us to help them.
And they
Oh,
want
okay.
to.
This is what I was, so they started doing that before I came in, so I just left it that way, so.
So the reason for that is, National started setting up. So they would go into the courthouse, you know.
And plug into this wall.
Yeah, they would.
You got a lot of it.
I mean, but in order for all the courthouse to shut down, we have to put it in the holiday.
I think you should take the whole day because of that.
I'll take that.
Because you don't do nothing on your day.
Yeah, true.
You're just there, just comparing the burritos.
Yeah, and now that they're earlier. So it's up to the court. It's up to the court.
I'm good with that. I agree. It's hard to get anything done in half a day.
Yeah.
You want to put it in your wording and I'll change it.
Okay.
So I'm we approve the holiday schedule, changing that half day to a full day.
I have a motion.
I'll second that.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 15, discussion with action to allow Presidio County employees to use up to $500 for the employee enrichment activity to cover the cost of the 4th of July picnic.
Yes, so I'm just bringing this, usually the Presidio County employees do have, Presidio County 4th of July picnic for all our employees. Since we have that fund from, money earned by actual employees that aren't signed up for the Healthy County, they would like to use up to $500 to cover the expenses of buying the food and plays and everything designated for the 4th of July picnic. That one is held at the courthouse, but it's for all county. That's what it is.
Do you have a lot of South County employees that go to the picnic?
We do have sometimes, I think last year we had pretty much almost everybody showed up.
That's good.
It all depends on their schedule. We spoke to Ruben, so he can kind of arrange the guys to be already there so they can go and enjoy it.
Well, all you got to do is tell the guys, do you want to go jump on a motor grader or do you want to go to a picnic? I think I'd like to go to a picnic. I bet you would. I bet you
Yes,
would.
we've had pretty good turnouts.
So, any other discussion, thoughts? You guys want to wait for, want to make a motion?
Then we approve, the $500 for the picnic.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve $500 for the 4th of July picnic, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, agenda item number 16, consider and take appropriate action regarding the 394th Judicial District Court certification of Isis Cardona as a full-time Assistant County Auditor effective October 1st, 2026.
Yes, sir. So, I did make this request to the district judge, Monte Campbell. I have a part-time position in my office that's already filled out by Isis right here. And I requested that that position become a full-time due to the increase of duties in my office and workload. I do think it's really necessary to have that part-time become a full-time position. Last year I requested it. This year it's happening. So on your drive, you would see the letter from the judge, district judge, authorizing this. I did request to become effective October 1 to not mess with our time vision.
And I'll tell you, just yesterday, Judge Hennington sent me the proposed budget for the district judge for the 394th. And we're gonna take a big chunk of that. We're gonna get hit big with that. So I mean, I go back to the same thing. If you want to, I'll send you what the proposed budget is right now. Myself and the other 5 county judges are trying to see if we can get together in person. If we can't, we're going to do in Zoom, but to discuss the breakdown. Because I want to say we're going to be hit with about 41% of the entire budget. So, well, because Hudspeth, Culberson, Jeff Davis are so small now. Their numbers are shrinking, their activities.
So it's like Brewster first, then us.
Presidio by far. And it goes back, and unfortunately for us, we've had a lot of civil litigation, civil lawsuits, the amount of time and monies and everything else that goes with it has been happening in Presidio. So, and so the way the matrix that they're using to say it's based on activity, the number of cases that have been called to court, and that's what they're basing it on. So we haven't had that discussion yet. It hasn't been approved, but I don't see how we can change it anyway. So,
well, this is pretty much in order. I'm going to say, and we want to stay in good terms with
you don't want to
Judge Kimball.
You don't want to tussle anymore.
No. I'm going to.
Baby.
Well, I have to review before you're playing with me. No, why don't you make this motion?
Okay.
Okay, I say that we approve the 394th Judicial District Court certification of Isis Cardona as a full-time Assistant County Auditor effective October 1st, 2026.
I'll second that.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
Yay, welcome.
Dinner's on you. Agenda item number 17, discussion only budget workshop. Agenda item 17, discussion only budget workshop. Do you need us? I guess it's a discussion only.
It's a discussion only. Next one, we can start beforehand and making some decisions.
Yes.
Right now, if you open your budget workshop folder.
Okay.
You must be making sure my head.
I'm so sorry. Did I not add the wrong one? I'll go ahead and upload it real quick. But if you look there, you can see the preliminary values for Cedar County. So I did a preliminary tax worksheet, kind of show you where with this preliminary values, this preliminary numbers, where your tax rates would be at. So if you open the tax revenue projection 27, 20, 27 fiscal year, tax year 26. You can see there, we have a non-year revenue rate, a voter approval rate, and a de minimis rate. Again, what this means is if the court chooses to go with a non-year revenue rate, you would be bringing negative $54,000. If you choose a voter approval rate, and this is all based on preliminary numbers, these numbers will change once Cynthia gets us those certified values, and Nancy brings us the actual rate collections. But this is just an estimated number. So if you look at your approval rate, that means that you will not have any issues. There's no elections that the public or anybody can bring and say, we don't want you to go with the tax rate. If you go with the voter approval tax rate, you would be bringing $272,000 to the
Increase.
from the previous year. If you choose a rate higher than the voter approval rate, but under the de minimis rate, it will not trigger an out-of-time election. People can still petition an election, but it's not mandatory. If you choose a tax rate that's above the voter approval rate, but below the de minimis rate, you would be seeing about $566,000 in revenue for this next fiscal year. The judge and I had some discussions over this, and it provided the court with two different timelines last commissioners, and there's no discussion or decision to be made on those because you're gonna work through them, and as you get closer to a specific point, you're gonna know which one you're gonna choose. So if the court chooses to go with with a tax rate that's over that voter approval rate, things have to happen pretty quickly in the budget.
Right. There's it triggers certain procedures. So,
correct.
So, and again, this is a discussion only, but my instinct right now, my gut tells me the de minimis rate is the way to go. So I know that we're going to get into it as we move along, and we'll have those discussions. Does it come with some risk? It comes with some risk, but I'm confident that we can work through it and we'd be okay.
Yeah.
I see that we have I think it's Ms. Ramirez with the appraisal district. I don't know if she has anything she wants to add. Ms. Ramirez? Okay.
And to pay attention to the note on that worksheet, I still have to calculate those numbers, but you can go ahead and see what our estimated values are. If I was explaining to the judge that even though there's a decrease in your valuation because your values are so high, you're still at an estimated taxable value of $1 billion. That's an increase of $7 million, and that's including the railroad stock, which is not part of that preliminary values that you have, that I have added here from the tax appraiser, from the appraiser. So let me upload real quick, because I'm so sorry I put this in the wrong way, which is the budget. Yeah, so you're not doing that. No, I have not sent out any worksheets because I'm getting used to the system. I don't have time. I'm working on it.
I totally get it. Yeah,
So,
I wanted to make sure I hadn't missed that.
You will get out hopefully by tomorrow or Friday, and we'll have 1 week to fill them out and send them. So I am so sorry everybody's gonna pay for us having a new software. So things will have to go pretty quickly here. One of the other things the judge and I were discussing is certain increases that will probably need to happen during the budget. Obviously, there's always wants, but there's actual needs. What are the needs of the commissioners see the county has to budget for? And what are the ones that you don't necessarily will be able to fund? I don't know, Judge, if you want to go over some of the things we discussed.
Yeah, some of the things we've discussed obviously is there is a serious appetite and we've been hearing it for 3 or 4 years, to have an election officer.
Yes.
So do we need to consider it? Absolutely, we need to consider it. It's gotten to a point where you need somebody that's going to dedicate the amount of time to become. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna pick her up. A certain amount of expertise to navigate through this. I can tell you the last time I talked to all the taxing entities, they're all in favor of this. Marfa Independent School District, Presidio Independent State, Presidio Cinema, everybody's interested in this. Our issue has always been is, well, if they're willing to participate, which is good, they want to participate, but how do they contribute? So, and unfortunately, that's where the water has been mucky. We can't charge them for services. We can't do this, but we can rent them machines. We can do that. We can do so all that hopefully will work itself out. But I think initially we're going to have to take the initial hit to do that. We've got some things coming up with the road and bridge. The road and bridge, obviously, we've been kicking that can down the road for the last 2 or 3 years. I go back, we could be creative. I mean, I think we still have a little bit of ARPA money. I think, again, we're looking at a prospective sale of 5 acres of land. How much would that bring in? Could we push that over and purchase the equipment they need? A utility truck. They don't have a roller. They don't have a roller to roll the streets. They don't have a dependable water truck. So all these things that, again, we're being creative with. Obviously, our road and bridge director has announced that he plans to retire and just before the fiscal year. But it's an opportune time to look at his job description, job duties. Can we modify it? Can we massage it? Can we do something else? We discussed some other things that other counties are doing throughout the state, especially that are comparable to us in budget and comparable to us in population. Probably not comparable to us in the size of the number of miles of county roads that we have, but in every other aspect. So we'll continue to look at that. Those are things we need to look at. Which other things that we discussed? Employee pay raises. I'm going to go back to the same thing. I understand it's hard, but everywhere you turn, I mean, we're getting mandated to give people raises because we're not doing enough. I sat here at a juvenile probation meeting, and again, they want to try to go level. And it's hard to find. Number one, whenever you lose an employee and you backfill a spot, it doesn't take 6 weeks to train them up. It takes years to train them up, and you lose a lot of internal, dysfunction. It's very, so we have to recognize inflation is real. It's true. It's happening. I'm buying, this year I bought the most hot dogs that I've ever bought. Why? Because they're delicious and nutritious? No, because that's what the checkbook says, hot dogs. I look at the ribeye, I look at the T-bone.
But then there's the New World screw book. You may
right.
just stay away from
Right.
Some of the other things we discussed was grant matches. I don't think we have
enough money.
budgeted enough for that. One of the things I do want to make, I don't know if we already know this, but there's a post overhaul to the OMB is proposing a major overhaul of federal grant rules. So that would mean, what that means for counties is that we can no longer have our separate grant rules. They will have to align to federal grant rules. And that means that some of the grants that we already get are at a risk of being lost. One of them being those CDBG grants. And even if you get those grants, if the federal government sees that there's no national purpose for those grants, they can remove them at any time. So on the NACO, and I don't know if you guys get this email, but they're very interesting and very informative. There's a form for county officials to submit by July 13th with comments on this proposed changes, which will affect small counties like ours, because if that funding is taken away, you will not be able to do a lot of this things. So let's say we already are in the process of a CDBG grant. So that grant, if the federal government applies these new rulings and they decide that our grant serves no purpose nationally, they can take away that grant, that funding opportunity. So it's very important to take a look at that, and then when we're budgeting for matches, be extremely logical about the programs the county is going for and ways to fund that. I think one of the biggest problems we see is we don't have enough match money funded.
Yeah.
In our general fund.
We discussed having a line item, a
Yes.
contingency with a certain amount
Yes.
and cap it there. And then say, because we don't know what's going to come up throughout the year. But if an opportunity comes up throughout the year, and I know that's a standard question that Ms. Sanchez is going to ask us. Okay, where's the match money going to come from? Because she's 3 steps ahead of us. We have not applied, we haven't been awarded on all these things. And what we have come seen, which is a reality, we apply and they never come to fruition, or they find a reason to say no.
Right.
So, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to get in a habit of saying we're not going to do it.
Right.
But she needs assurances that we're going to say, here's a pot of money right here, and that's exactly what's right. And we can designate that as the budget cycle goes on.
Yes. So another thing is underutilized. So I uploaded the 2027 working budget for everybody to see each department. And I'm gonna send another report with percentage and utilization of those funds. So underutilized department budgets. Some departments have bigger budgets than others, some are underutilized. Once you give that budget to that elected official, you cannot really take it away. However, from a budget, if you see a department that's not utilizing their budget, and it's just kind of like, oh, this is my money, and it's just gonna stay here permanently. The court may have better use of those funds for the new fiscal year. So it's good to look at those departments that are underutilizing those funds and maybe put them in a way that can be, that can serve the county better. And then if that department at a later time is needing something that the court takes away, it can always come back to the commissioners court and say, hey, I will need you to return some of those funds to my budget. One of the other questions is obviously insurances. It's a big hit to our county. I'm not sure, we don't have the exact numbers at the time, but we're thinking it's gonna be around a 9 to 10% increase in our current health insurance. Also, retiree, post-retiring insurance. So those are things that I would like the court to consider, start thinking about. Because if the court wants to do certain projects that are extremely important, you have to find a way to kind of cut in some other areas. Yes.
So we can move money around and, for instance, I'm just looking at it and like there's, she's got $50,000. She hasn't used it. So,
If it's money, if it's budgeted money, and we're not saying anything, Blair, we're just talking on this part. We're just talking. We're looking at, okay, what budgets and where are they at? Here we are at the tail end of the fiscal year, they still have money left. So some of those monies, and just to answer Commissioner Squintella's question, some of those monies come from SB 22. And some of those monies, we can't divert them anywhere. She is the one mandated to spend it. So if she doesn't spend it, it goes back to the state of Texas, I think. And then, but if it's money budgeted from our budget, then we can look at it, or we can ask her to look at, is there anything that the county is currently providing and paying for you that you can charge to that SB 22?
Right, so right now, the budget as it stands, it belongs to every elected official. During budget season, for the new budget, it belongs to the commissioners court. You guys get to decide how those funds are distributed. If you don't see that a budget is utilizing other funds, you can't go ahead and for the new fiscal year, say, hey, we're gonna cut your budget in this area because you have another way to pay for those costs.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything's contingent. When we approve positions that are paid by grants, it's always a contingent. As long as you have the grant, it will get paid from that. Once that grant is gone, it will revert back to the department. And sometimes people get raises from grants. The way we do raises is contingent on those grants being available to the county. Once those grants go away, you should explain to your employees, your wages will go back to what the county can stretch.
But again, it goes back to the department head. If the department comes to us and says, hey, I want to give my employees a 5% pay raise, and I'm getting it from this grant. Well, you're the one taking the risk. We're going to prove it contingent on the grant, but if it comes back, then you got to be the backup.
Yes. And
Or find the money somewhere else.
And a lot of those grants do not allow for every, a person to get raises from the grant. It depends, but yes, overall, yes.
Okay.
If you guys want to start looking at those budgets, there's, the revenue budget is not there. I'll bring that up later, because we don't know exactly how much revenue we're gonna bring. But your expense budget is important for you guys to go over them and kind of review them. And any questions you have regarding the expenditures, go ahead and give me a call, email me, or reach out to me any way you want.
Okay.
Why are we giving $5,000 to the interviews?
I think that's AMS. Are you looking at?
Yes.
So kind of like what, we don't give it to them, but we have it there that say, you need to, kind of like the EMS for Presidio, Marfa and the city of Presidio, it's an agreement, if we need their services, we have that $5,000 to provide to them. That they need to cover our area in some extent. Now, also contributions, if there's gonna be any increase in contributions, we can start working on those. So those are more other non-departmental. Some of the things that Judge and I discussed is looking at that non-departmental and county contributions, what's actually necessary to be given out, and what's really a desire to give that's really not needed. And some of this are small costs, $2,000, $3,000, but overall, when you start adding up the numbers, it counts towards the total amount of the county budget. And remember, if you have a deficit budget, you have to balance it with reserves.
I'm good.
Any other?
Ready for my worksheets.
I would encourage the commissioners independently to visit with each other, to start saying their wish list and their not wish list, and you guys start having those discussions. Very oftentimes, I think what happens is we're not prepared for this, and then we come to the workshop and then we're ready to meet for battle. So, and I don't want that. I think there's a lot of this stuff, not all of it, but I bet you 90% of it, we could have worked out or worked it through our own minds before we have to come and take action.
Judge, I will say that, on the post-retiree, we're probably gonna take a hit also. This is a part of the just keep that. So.
No, I had already assumed that. And it's not a little, it's pretty significant.
Overall, right now, our group health plan, so we're discussing shields, the big jack is, overall through the whole pool is about 9.9%. We still don't know ours in the city of County, she'll find that out, I think, July 24th. So then I have her coming in August to present.
And I'm making an assumption. If we have a retiree and they have a life-changing event, and it affects us. It goes back to back to our claims, and that's the unfortunate reality.
And I don't want you to think that it's only going to increase on the group health plan, but also through the Medicare side. I'm sure there's going to be an increase on that side also. Post-retirees over 65. Yeah. So I don't want you to think that number is set on the post-retirees, because it's not. I'm sure we're going to get a hit also.
Any other discussion on budgets, or you guys want to move on? Let's move on to number 18. Just updates of administrative updates, announcements from the commissioners. Commissioner Hernandez. Commissioner Knight, do you have anything you want to talk about? Commissioner Knight, you're on mute. You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you
There you
hear
go.
me now? I'm just glad to say that the elevator seems to be working correctly at this time.
Congratulations.
Well, I'll have to say that the auditor was a big part of helping me deal with these folks. So we got it done.
And the county attorney, we finally had to call them and use the county attorney power she has.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thanks to all of y'all.
Yes. Thanks to everybody.
I hate that
Anyway,
you had to use
anything else?
little legal coercion to get them to want to comply with their contract, but
All right.
as long as it's working, you know.
Yeah, they're not I don't think they're an upright company.
So, Commissioners Contreras.
I think we have, our county road and bridge yard finished.
What?
You don't wanna come today? Well,
Have they already have you guys started cleaning out the yard?
Yes.
They have?
They got rid of the tires and this morning we were taking leftover tires to the city yard.
Okay.
So Commissioner, Bianca and myself talked about moving the phone line and internet on July 8th. Is that a good date or is that?
like Efron,
Okay, Eva?
whenever they're ready to move.
I know, Judge, you guys said you wanted to clean out the back, right, and have our house clean?
Yes.
Before we move in?
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, I would say we're still a couple of weeks. So the doors and windows are in?
Yes, and the AC.
AC's in?
The AC is working.
And the bathroom, we got a door, we got a door.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, if I'm gonna go present it, to us and to the public, I mean, I'd have the yard cleaned up. It's just, it looks disorganized.
And I know Ruben did tell the guy that was our number one priority.
Good.
Until further.
Good. And it's not done yet. I know that Commissioner Contreras thinks it should have a more secure fencing around it. There should be a clearly marked entrance and an exit. We might even need to bring some materials in. So some caliche or something to make it more robust of a parking area. I think it looks great from all the advancements I've seen. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
So the old yard is all cleaned out and ready for the sheriff's department to move in?
It's clean, they still have the fuel tanks outside.
Right.
That was the only thing that I knew that was still needing to remove. There's 4 of them, 2 of them the sheriff's officer can stay with if I were.
So I need money so we can start rebuilding that yard for the county church. Cause it looks.
Talk to the sheriff.
It looks like.
So I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think it would take much to do a quick remodel. I really don't think it would. I think it'd be somewhere around the $10,000 range, to put a coat of paint, maybe a couple of windows.
Put AC, LED lights.
It's not even.
Probably a fence.
You think a mini split would work there? It's like.
We have one left over then.
Yeah, I mean, repurpose it. Why don't you get with the sheriff or Chief Nunez and maybe we can work something out before.
There's 2 buildings.
Separate
rooms.
Yeah.
We have to check which one
okay.
better. So we can, I would like the one in closer to this, I don't know what your street.
That Daily?
Because that way the public would park on that side and get into the office instead of going all the way. That's my, yeah, that's my opinion. And we had a meeting with the county people, Road and Bridge, because Roman is, apparently he's gonna retire on July 31st.
Yeah.
And we were talking about their needs and their wants. But they're needing, new vehicles. We have, trash vehicles, and Judge has already talked to county sheriff about making an auction. So we can auction all this trash that we have and getting it, our city, our county, for new vehicles. Actually have some quotes that I'm gonna share with you.
But I know we're gonna meet after this, but, and I believe I've already shared with the judge, but I'm meeting next week with the, county road and bridge engineer, who I went to high school with, and they're wanting to work with Presidio County. They have a lot of money and they turn their vehicles over like every year. So I'd like to know, I need to talk about it. I need to know your list so that when I meet with Curtis, I can say, this is what our needs are for the registry.
Love it. Right now, their needs and their wants, both.
Well, yeah.
I would say their needs, it's a utility.
Listen, I've been watching Ruben's budget for years and what his wants have always been high.
They need a one.
Bianca, were they here for me?
Okay,
They're welcome to come in and sit down.
They don't know.
Okay. No, I like that. And I'll tell you, when they told me they didn't have a roller, I'm like, how do you maintain a road without a roller? And they're like, well, even if we had a roller, we couldn't move it up and down the county. We don't have a trailer.
So we need some equipment there.
We need equipment. Yeah, we need
And
equipment.
they're good people. They can do a lot of stuff. They cannot put people to fire us.
Yeah. So, and that'll keep coming. Anything else, Commissioner?
Commissioner, if you guys want to come and, I would like to do like this. I don't know.
Do you have watermelons for us?
Watermelons? I was late, so I.
No. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Let me see if my guy already.
I'm kidding. So. Oh my God, he brought me a watermelon the other day. Man, that thing is sweet. No, and you know what? I ate it in one day. And I cut it up. Yes, it was a big one. But I cut it up.
Family side.
Oh, yeah.
They're not this, on this watermelons.
And they're red.
See the best. So they're like.
Are they growing, like, do you grow?
Yes, I have 8 acres.
Oh.
Not really.
Oh.
Yeah, we know
And they.
They're coming from Oasis, and these melons, they end up, if you go to Walmart, if you go to HEB, if you go to,
There's also times where they'll like park at a gas station with like the pallet box full, because they don't want them. And they'll like take the pallet, we don't want it.
I need to take some to Martha.
Yeah.
Because I bought one for like $10.
Another sheriff department. Gave us.
Yeah.
Gave us
I will buy
I
one
can go.
next month. My baby turns 6 months, and so we plan on doing one of those like watermelon quote unquote cakes and just let her go to town on it. So if anyone catches a spare watermelon in Presidio, I'll buy it off of you.
I'll bring you the biggest.
yeah. So,
There you go.
good.
But that would be, I would say, we can probably get 2 or 3 new vehicles for the people, for our road and bridge guys, and so they can.
Yeah.
Especially for the mechanic. The mechanic doesn't have a utility truck, so he grabs his screwdriver and leaves the other truck, and so we need for him to have his welder and everything.
I'm gonna sit down with you and find out and make a list before I go to Reeves County, because they really want to try to help us out.
Well, and again, and as soon as they said, because I've always kind of wondered, why do they have a 10-hour workday? And it never made sense. They're like, well, if we're working Chispas Road, it's an hour up there and it's an hour back. So we go out there and you know, sometimes it takes us, well, we're gonna go, it takes us an hour and a half to get there and then an hour and a half back. You go, so we've already burned 3 hours of a day and it makes no sense to us. So, yeah.
We moved a lot of our park rangers at Big Bend Ranch State Park to 14-hour days just to drive out to, you know.
Yeah.
I asked them a lot of questions on time issues. For instance, that class I did, I asked them, how many days we need for you to break that roof? And they say, well, like about a month. And I said, what about 2 water graders working at the same time? We'll do 2 weeks for all 3. It will be in 1 week. So that's my.
Those are the things, yeah.
See, we can have them work together. And hit one goal, but finish it.
I love that you're planning this whole schedule thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when I get the phone calls from constituents, I can easily just look at the schedule and say, they will be there in 2 or 3 weeks without any emergencies.
Well, I have another idea that I'm the judge about. I want to see if we can start working. Week 1, precinct 1. No questions asked. Week 2, precinct 2. Week 3, week 4, like that.
Yeah.
That way your constituents know that, okay, you're precinct 2, well,
right.
They're gonna be in the second week of every month. Right. So they can call and tell, hey, we need this, that.
Right.
And the other thing was, they would be working as a team. Not, well, there's 2 guys over here, and then I have 1 guy over there, and there's another guy. No, these guys are, when they go, they're on one mission, and they're all working together in lockstep.
Makes so much sense.
So we'll see how that goes.
The only thing I'm working on right now is, as y'all recall, when we defunded all the North Park, we still have a little more work to do. So I'm trying to line up surveys and get into long-term leases and trying to work closely with Blair and not overwhelm her on that because I know she's got a real heavy-duty date. So I really want to bring that to closure, that whole process on the North Park area.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come, you know, since it takes so much time to get these surveys and the appraisals done, I'm gonna try to get, you know, if we do it for the 5-acre tract, we also get it done for the ballroom and for the golf course all at the same time while we already have a surveyor out or an appraisal person out. That way we're not put on another month-long schedule with them. We can just bang them out all at once. And I know that probably makes Alicia nervous because that's always going to be there's going to be a cost associated with that. But as we sell the property, we'll get paid back from the cost of the appraisers.
Right. Well, I'll be talking to you, Blair, because I think we may get the golf course done pro bono, and I know that would make our auditor very happy. So that's it, Joe. Yeah, right.
I guess there's a lot going on. I don't want to take up much more time. There is going to be a transition. The Fort Bliss soldiers are at the end of their commitment. I think they'll be out of here. I think the last ones leave on the 28th and 29th June, and the 101st Airborne Division is coming in. So I'm meeting with them tomorrow. I'm meeting with them in Marfa. They're a very unique group. They're high speed, low friction. They come with congressional mandates. So they may be asking us for some things, and mostly for parking. But I'll find out more after tomorrow. And but I'll open myself. I'll expose myself to any questions anybody has. Any questions, concerns, anyone. All right, and then I'll go to Miss Park. I thought I saw a baby's head next to you.
Yeah, she's in her bouncer next to me. We had Cam, my husband, and I had a little bit of a schedule conflict. He had an eye appointment yesterday and forgot I had criminal court, so then he moved it today, forgetting I had county commissioner's court. So I'm here with her today. My only sorry?
Karina said the joys of parenting.
I know. And Gadi got to see her last week.
Did the same thing today. Me and my mother-in-law and my husband are all out of town. So we're all messaging each other. Did you check on the kids? Did you check on the kids?
Yeah, we gotta, we do shared calendars, but it still breaks down. But anyways, my only update was going to be on the North Park situation, and I think Deidre kind of touched on that, and I touched on it earlier. I'm going to try to get a 5-acre tract ready for RFP as soon as possible. Unfortunately, the law kind of binds me to have to get an appraisal done before the county can sell property like that. And just so Alicia knows, we just talked budget, and I didn't really touch upon this earlier. We'll need to pay for an appraisal to be done on all of these properties that we're doing, sales, or, maybe a surveyor for lease property. But when the property is sold, it'll pay, like this, the buyer's gonna have to pay back that cost from the county. So it's gonna be, money we have to put up front, but we'll get paid back. And I'm also hoping, I'll let you tell me what our deficit is looking like this year in our budget, and I'm sure we do have a deficit. But I'm really hoping to get a pretty penny on that 5 acres out there, to hopefully help us with our budget deficit. And then depending on what the end use is going to be of that 5 acres, the commercial and or industrial use of that 5 acres out there, because it is a commercial area, will increase a lot of tax basis and get us more taxes in the future. So trying to make sure our North Parks area, all that spare land, is being used in a way that helps the county.
I agree. So, Ms. Sanchez, do you have anything? You probably already said enough, huh?
Too much, I already have too much. No, I'm good, thank you.
Ms. Ubia?
Yes.
Madam Clerk? I just want you to know that the last 2 criminal courts that we've had have been, in my opinion, by myself, very smooth. And it's working very well. We have a lot more coordination. We're having significantly less issues or complaints or anything. So thank you on that end. It's working very well. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second from Commissioner Escondrias. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate it. It's 12:46 p.m.